with the cool color and your cool wife. Hi, friend.
Yes. Here's my wife. There's the fruit basket.
What?
The fruit basket. I was just randomly pointing out something in the background. The fruit basket. We built it ourselves.
Ah, it's the one you made yourself? You
Yeah.
did, yeah? Very cool.
Fran did the artistic input, and I did the drilling and hammering input.
Nice. Joint venture.
This is my painting by my brother Christian.
What?
How cool is that?
Seriously?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I know. He was an amazing artist, and then he just never really did it again. He sort of gave up painting, but he's like phenomenal. It was amazing. I was like, dude, like, really? You can paint like that?
Yeah, how old is this painting?
Oh, I've had it since I was a kid. Must be, I don't know, 30 years old, something like that.
Oh, yeah, it's great. It looks great.
Yeah. No, I've carried that around. Came over from Australia, and yeah, always had it with me.
Nice. Something from the brother. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So how's your day been?
Uh,
Uh,
cool. Uh, uh, now it's just it's work stuff. It's annoying. It's
oh yeah.
yes, with problems with our young new boss, and he understands nothing how we mean it, and everything is weird. And we have had so many discussions, and uh, it's yeah, it's annoying. But I'm really looking forward to a very good session of training to get me off from all this.
Oh, good. Good. I'm sure we can do that for you.
Yay, thank you.
What do you feel like?
What do I feel like?
Like, do
Ooh.
you feel like, you know, gentle or a bit more vigorous or, form, qigong,
Ah,
sanjao, jumping in the
I'd
air,
appreciate some.
backflipping?
Okay, so since yeah, I would appreciate some form.
Some
Actually,
form. You'd
some
appreciate some
form.
form, would
I
you?
would
Okay.
appreciate some form.
We can do some form. Sure. Evening, Maya.
Good evening, everyone.
You got the kids to bed?
No,
No.
actually, we just got home.
You
Uh,
just come.
at least you have a partner who can put the kids to bed.
Yes, we just exchange the kids. That's how I see my partner. Just to
Yeah.
exchange the kids.
Okay. Right. So, are we all set? Yep. We're all set. Let's do some. Hey, Farah. Hey, Robert. Adam. Good to see you all. Let's do some form stuff.
Thank you.
All right. Let's do some form stuff. We'll just start warming up, and then I'll play out by ear. Have a little fiddle as to what I want to do. Okay. We are musicians mode on. Changing the camera. I am recording. We are good to go. Oh, no, we're not. I need to change my screen to full screen, don't I? There we go. All right. Squat. Curl up into a ball. Open out. Open up like a star. Onto your toes, ball of the feet. Open up, stretching your chest fully back. And then squat down. Open up, breathe in. Open, stretch your chest back. Circle your hands. And down. Open up. Stretching up and coming down. Open up. The usual, stick your bum out, look up, push your chest out, drag your arms back. Fold up. In breath, out breath. Keep it going. Make sure you go through your absolute full range of motion. Hinge forward. 45 degrees. If you're okay with that, you want more, 90 degrees. Relax your spine. Straighten your spine. Take your palms out to the rear. Squeeze them back, externally rotating the arms, fully up as high as you can, and trying to sort of touch your palms together behind you. You won't get them there, of course, but not unless you turn them over the other way, but externally rotated, you won't get them to touch. And then take your hands over your head, keeping them up. Pull them back. Squeeze your back muscles. Again, you can be doing all of this in the 45-degree tilt if it's too difficult for you here. Kind of like you're making a snow angel. And then relax. And roll it up. I'm feeling funny. I'm feeling like kind of chill, but at the same time I'm kind of feeling a bit energetic. Like I'm sort of like in a bit of limbo at the moment. Okay, let's heat up our bottoms. Standing naturally, slightly wider stance. Drop the elbow to the knee. Back up, elbow to knee. Back up, elbow to knee. Weight into that leg that you're touching. Take your other hand to the rear. Squeeze the shoulder blade back. I'll assume you've all done the pivoting version by now. I've done it quite a few times throughout the last week. So you're going to pivot on your toes and then down. Pivot back up. Pivot on your toes and then down. Back up. Pivot on your toes. Your front foot pivots 135 degrees from the front to the rear corner. Left foot, see it's facing out to that rear corner. Then I drop down. Bringing it back up. And down. And back up. And down. And back up. And down. Okay, now we're going to go all the way down into the floor. Touch your knee on the ground. If you can't do this, of course, if you can't even get that low, then just sit down onto the floor and get into this position. Pivoting, sinking down, touch the knee on the floor, slide it, fold into a seated position. Pull that knee into your chest, stretching and opening through here. And spiral yourself back up. Spiral yourself all the way down. Pull that knee in, stretch your bum cheek. And spiral back up. Double shoulder width, or thereabouts. Just figure out what width you want to make the movement comfortable. Turn your foot out, drop it down, bring it up, turn your foot in. Obviously drop down to however low is comfortable for you. You might go to here, or all the way down and touch the knee on the elbow. Back up, turn your foot in. Keep your body facing the front as you're going down. Okay, don't turn towards your knee. Keep your body facing the front, you see? So you're really open in that hip when you go down. Now close it in, turn to the front. This is my favorite one. Stretch and lengthen through that back foot. Sinking into the front leg. Sink, sink, sink. Twirl it around to the rear. Sinking down through that hamstring and the adductors. Just wriggling around on the floor, bending the leg, straightening the leg, moving around. Crawl yourself forward into the reverse position. Stretch and lengthen through that back leg. And spin it around, stretching. Bending the knee, straightening the knee, just moving and wriggling. Coming onto your knees, stretching your ankles by sitting back onto your feet. Okay, so coming up into a squat in one of three ways. We'll do it all three ways, and then you can choose which one you like for future reference. As far as, not which one you like, do the most difficult one you can. Okay? But don't do the more difficult one if you feel like you can't do it because you don't want to pull a muscle or something. So just listen to your own body. Push your weight forward onto your fists, okay? And just bring your foot through. If you can bring your foot through, like so, then bring the other foot through, and you're in a squat. Okay, reverse it, go down. That's level 1. Level 2, same thing, but do both feet together. And squat. Go back, and sit down. Let's try that one again. In, and down. Level 3, put your fingers on the ground instead of your fists. Same thing, lean forward, and down, up, and down. Level 4, just jump straight from here onto your feet. Okay, so figure out which one of those works for you. Do the most difficult one, do it regularly, and hopefully eventually you gain some core strength, and then eventually you need to start doing some jumping, more explosive actions to get to the final one. All right, let's do some Taiji form. What are you looking for? Okay. Right, let's do I'm going to flow through the form. On the left side, one run through as a flow thing. Then we're going to take a set of movements and just kind of look at a few principles that we should be focusing on with those movements. Then we'll do the right side. Okay? Something a bit different tonight. Okay, so left side, flow. I'll just give a little bit of breathing direction instruction as we go through. No technical details, but I'll just to sort of give you a little bit of verbal guidance so you don't have to keep your eyes on the screen the whole time in order to stay in flow. I'll just sort of say breathe in as you lift your hands, breathe out as you drop your hands, things like that, just so that you know where we are in the form, so you're staying in time with what I'm doing. Okay, just centering your body. Breathing in, lifting the hands up. Weights rocking forward into the balls of the feet. Breathing out, sinking down. Breathing in, lifting up. Breathing out, sinking down. Breathing in, stepping forward. Breathing out into pung. Breathing in as we step. Breathing out into double pung. Breathing in as you roll the hands over. Breathing out as you sink the hands down. Breathing in as you roll the hands together. Breathing out as you squeeze them into posture. Breathing in as you sit back. All the way till you connect your hands, you're moving forward, and then breathe out as you come crashing down. Breathing in as you open up. Breathing out as you strike and sit back. Breathing in as you lift your hands up. And out as you sink down. Breathing in as you sit back ready. Breathing out into Fisher's Innate. Breathing in as you tuck in. And breathing out as you press into the final posture. Breathing in as we lift up. Breathing out as you compress down and press the hook through, sinking your body. Breathing in as the hand lifts towards the end of the movement. And breathing out into posture. Breathing in as we open the hands up. Breathing out as you squeeze in and poke. Breathing in as you sit back. Breathing out as you come forward. Breathing in as you turn to the front. Breathing out as you turn back to the right. The left hand is lifting as you're breathing in, turning to the left. The right hand is lifting as you're breathing out, turning to the right. As you breathe in, a fraction of weight rocks into the front foot, and then you sink back into the rear foot as you breathe out. In breath, out breath. In breath, out breath. In breath. Hold on to that in breath, charge it up, coil it back, and breathe out explosively. Breathe in as you lift your hands up. Long, long out breath as you sink down. Touch the heel on the ground with no weight. In breath, little rock forward. Out breath, sink back. In breath as you step. Out breath as you sink forward. In breath into stork spreads wings. Out breath as you settle into the posture. In breath as the left hand activates. Out breath as you spread the weave. In breath as the right hand activates. Out breath as you spread the weave. In breath as you lift the leg up. Out breath as you come forward. In breath, rolling the foot. Place the toes, start to sink back, and as you feel your weight going down, you breathe out, pressing your palms into the ground. Scoop it up, breathe in as you lift, and out, sinking down. Breathe in, and breathe out into strike. Hold the ball, hook the arm. Keep breathing out as you're sinking, sinking, sinking. And then breathe in as you lift the foot up. Teetering at the top of the breath as you place the heel, and then breathe out. Again, breathe in at the end of the posture and breathe out in to hold the ball. Breathe in to lift the knee. Place the heel and breathe out. Same again, breathe in, breathe out. Roll the foot up, breathe in as you lift. Breathe out as you start to feel the weight press back into your rear foot. Scoop the hands under on the settle of the breath and then breathe in. And a long, slow out breath. Place the heel. Breathe in at the end. Charge your body up and then breathe out into the strike, the hold the ball, the hook, the sink, and in-breath. As you lift the knee, the in-breath starts. And out-breath. In-breath again. Out-breath as you do your weighted turn. Sink into that front leg. In-breath to step through. And out-breath as you sink into the front leg and strike. In-breath as you roll the foot up. And out-breath as you place the heel down. In-breath, hand comes forward. Out-breath, left hand comes forward. In-breath, right hand comes forward. Little bit of weight into the right leg. And out-breath, sink your body back into your left foot. In-breath, a little bit of weight forward. Out-breath, all the weight back. In-breath, a little bit of weight forward. Out-breath, sink back. Now we're going to go in-breath as a step happens. In-breath, step. Out-breath as you shuffle up and punch. Breathing out into posture. Breathing in as you sit back. Breathing out, pressing to the front. You're going to breathe in as you open everything up. Breathe out on the way down. Breathe in on the way up. Breathe out at the top. Breathe in. Breathe out and pack your palms down, standing up. Come into a lower Qigong position as you breathe in. And then breathe out to settle. Breathe in, let your hands come out to the sides. Breathe out as you stand up. Ooh. Oh, that was nice. It's not often I get that nicer feeling when I'm also having to explain things. I quite often get that feeling if I'm just doing my own form, like I did was that this morning or this afternoon? Some point, I think it was this morning. I just did the form. Maybe it was yesterday. Anyway, I did the form without any talking. I just did the form without, like, literally just went into my own little world. But even though I was talking, and so therefore my breath was sometimes not on the right phase, because of course I have to breathe in order to speak, to tell you what's happening. So sometimes my breath is not quite sunk with the movements perfectly because of explaining things. But yeah, that was a really nice form. I enjoyed that. Okay. Before I start going over anything, were there any questions about your... Where's my... I'll get a quicker way of doing this. There we go. View gallery. Okay, so...
Would you say that was slow, medium, when you normally do it? Would that be extra slow for you, or is that the regular speaking?
No, I'd say that was medium, like normal pace. Yeah, that wasn't slow. I mean, it's slow, it's still a slow form, but I wouldn't say it was like a slow form. Yeah, I would say that's sort of, you know, somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
Can you talk about the sensations in the knee? Like how do you feel it? Maybe opening in the back, or the knees are feeling the toes somehow they're more in the feeling in the direction of the just how do you feel the knees? Because for a while I didn't, because the instruction is like don't put pressure on your knees.
Yeah.
Then basically I didn't feel like the location of my knee.
Okay. Okay.
So if you just like you have anything?
Yeah, sure.
How
I
much
can talk about that.
sensation?
Sure.
Yeah.
We can do a little thing about structural integrity in the knees and the hips, which the hips control the knees and the ankles, and yeah, we can talk about that, and then we'll do the form again with that in mind. Good idea. Okay, let's get to it. Bring me back to here. Okay. All right, so stabilization in the knee. How should your knees be standing? How should your weight be placed over it? Okay, let's go over a few things here. Okay. The first obvious thing is your knee is in line with your toe, okay? So it's like so. Now, exactly where? Some people are, well, you know, is it in line with the big toe or the middle toe, or, you know, this kind of thing? Well, that will vary. If you're being that pedantic about things, like is it the second toe or the third toe? These kind of things like this. When you become that pedantic about it, I can't tell you, because your foot's a different shape than my foot. So it will vary slightly. Your foot is attached to the lower leg at a slightly different rotation. Your toes are pointing in, you know, there's subtle differences in everyone's feet. For example, I find it really damn hard to find shoes because my foot has a outward kind of curve to it, like this. I'm assuming most people's feet curve slightly inwards, as in there's the ankle and then the front part of the foot, like the ball of the foot, the bit, you know, that you stand on, is slightly curved inward, because almost every shoe that I try on is always curved inward. And so when I put my foot in the shoe, I lift my big toe up and my big toe is in the middle of the shoe. Of course, so that means all my little toes are bunched up on the side. But it's very hard for me to find shoes. So hence, if I told what I align at, and then I took someone of the opposite extreme, someone with a very inwardly curved foot, well, that lineup's going to be completely different. So instead of thinking about that, we need to think about the weight placement, because I can't move my knee offline. If I push my knee over that way, so it's more over towards my little toe, I feel all my weight transfer towards the outer edge of my foot. If I put my knee kind of more in line with my big toe on the inside, there, now it's in line with the big toe, now I feel my weight pressing down through the arch of my foot. So what we want is, we want to have the arch activated, so the arch of your foot is turned on. Now that should be something that happens subconsciously. You shouldn't have to think about that unless you've got saggy arches, in which case there's something wrong there and you need to sort of switch it on. But if your feet function correctly, I don't sit there thinking about activating my arch. So a good thing you can do is, we call it the sweet spot, and this is throughout the entire form. Normally we talk about the sweet spot as front and back. So if you stand like in your Qigong stance, if you push your weight forward, so the weight's on the balls of my feet, I'll feel tension, I'll feel pressure on the balls of my feet. And I'll feel tension running down the back of my legs because those muscles are turned on to hold me in that position. If, however, I sink my weight all the way back to the point just there where I feel like I'm going to fall backwards, I'll feel the opposite. I'll feel pressure in the heels and tension running down the front of the shin because those muscles are kind of going, no, no, don't fall backwards. Try to keep your weight forward. So you feel those two tension points. There's tension forward, tension backwards. Find that bit in the middle. Now, I'm not saying you'll be in the middle all the time. You know, you've done the form, so you know sometimes we say press the weight in the ball, sink the weight to the heel to turn the foot. You will move around, but that's kind of like your centered point. So if in doubt, come back to that centered point. Like a guard, you know, you'll throw your hands out in all sorts of different positions, but you come back to your guard kind of thing. So we're all quite familiar with that, right? But the in and out is the same. So from that position there, like so, if you open your knees out a little bit like you're riding a horse, like so, you'll feel pressure down the outside of the ankles of the feet, like so. But if you come a little bit too far in, you'll feel that pressure come down through the arch. So you want to find that point where essentially the foot feels the most relaxed, and the legs, as in all of these muscles down either side of your lower leg, feel the most at ease. Because as soon as I push it out, I just feel a lot more tension in my legs. If I let it sag in, which essentially, you know, technically speaking, you're relaxing when it sags in. But by relaxing, I actually feel more pressure on my body. Because if you use a little bit of structure, your body will be more relaxed than if you use no structure. Because technically you are still using structure, just different. Incorrect structure, which will cause tension. So yeah, play around with that. Open your knees out, feel the weight on the outside, squeeze your knees in, feel the weight on the inside. And then find that sort of bit in the middle where it feels like the legs just, oh, there it is. It's the sweet spot. It's the spot where you go, oh, that's nice. So that spot, in terms of the lateral placement, is essentially how we should always have our weight in our feet. So if I'm in a front bow stance, my front foot still has that same principle. If I just slightly sag in, I feel pressure on the arch. Slightly go out, feel pressure on the outside. So again, I'm finding that middle ground. The rear foot is the same. The rear foot, even though my knee is nowhere near the foot, so it's not in a vertical line anymore, it is still in a line. I'll come more to that in a moment. But that rear foot is still planted on the ground, you see? If I relax, knee sags, hip sags, ankle sags, big toe pressing into the ground, arch sagging into the ground. If I bow the leg, a lot of people have heard, oh, the knee's got to be over the toe. They've just heard that, and they assume that means both legs. It's only the weighted leg where the knee is over the toe. So anyway, if you bow the leg outwards this way, again, you're going to feel the weight in the outside edge of the foot. So you want to feel the weight on that sweet spot again, where it just feels strong. It feels like a position where you could, boom, land with 100 kilos on your shoulders and your ankles would be okay. So that's how it should feel. That's the sensation. Although it is soft, my body feels very relaxed. I'm not saying I'm like under pressure, but it feels like I'm in the stance that I would be in as if I were holding a large pressure. Now, so front knee, like so, as I say, so that's what I've talked about there, this lateral thing. The rear knee, if you just think about that thing of keeping the foot on the ground, the foot flat, so that sweet spot, then the rear knee will always be in the right alignment as long as you keep the foot in that correct positioning. So obviously, if I'm weighted over this leg, my knee is directly over the toe. The further I move away from it, the further the knee comes down at an angle like this. You see? So the knee is still in a line with the foot because the line is diagonal now. So the line should be in a, where's the power going? If I push off that leg, where's the force going? The force is going on an angle like that. But as I say, if you just think about keeping your pressure on that sweet spot, you can't really go wrong. Now, there's another element. This is the main element. The knee over the toe, okay? So a lot of people have this idea that the knee must never, where's a straight line? I've got things all over the place. I'll just lift my foot up, shall I? So you can see, I can't put it down here because there's a skirting board down there which is this far out from the wall. I want it to be flat. But anyway, if I put my toe at the top of the skirting board and then touch there, now that's a straight line, as in a vertical line. So if you imagine, if you have a wall in front of you, you put your toe on the wall and then touch your knee on the wall. A lot of people will tell you, you must never go past that point. But that's exactly the same concept as what I was telling you before about different shaped feet. I've got students who are this tall with feet this big, but then I've got students which are this tall, but they've got feet this big. So of course, when those really tall people with really short feet sink down, equivalent to their body size, their knees are barely bent. They're just, and they're already in line. So their form looks like this. Looks like they're standing up. They've got no stance. So they have to, I have to some degree, not as much as these, like I'm not an extreme case, but in order to take a proper good solid bow stance, I have to take my knee well over the ball of my foot. Actually, yeah, you can see it sort of there because my pants hang down vertically and I'd say my knee is, I don't know, 1.5 inches or so past the toe. The knee being over the toe, in line with the toe, that vertical line, throw it out the window, chuck it out, it's utter garbage, it's total bullshit. Because it will ruin people's forms, it will make them not sink, okay? Because they think somehow, oh, my knee's going to be damaged if I go over that thing. Fitness trainers, same thing. A lot of fitness trainers, never let your knee go past your toe. This is their thinking. Because I guess it's an easy way of making sure no one damages their knees without having to explain lots of detailed stuff. If you're talking to the masses, it's an easy way. Don't go past the knee, therefore I won't get anyone suing me, I won't get anyone having bad knees, right? But it's the same in the fitness world. If you go to a really good personal trainer, you're doing, you know, like big weighted squats or something like that, and he'll tell you, he'll look at your body and say, no, for your structure, your foot size, your knee size, blah, 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 your knee should be over your toe. Whereas your knee shouldn't be over your toe. So it varies person to person, depending on shapes. So, what should we be looking at? We've got to look at the ankle. The ankle is the only joint in this case which will reach its maximum movement potential, its maximum mobility within a lunging kind of action, okay? So if I lunge, if I go down into a lunge, my hip joint, well, that can bend loads, right? That can go heaps. It's nowhere near its maximum range of motion when I'm in a lunge. My hip can go way further than that, so I don't have to think about the hip. The knee as well. The knee, look, the knee's got loads of room to bend. The knee can go so much further than how you're standing when you're standing in any of these type of positions. So when we're talking about the knee going forward like this, it's not the knee bending more, which is the problem. Because I can bend my knee down as far as I want and I won't damage my knee. It's the ankle maxing out. So I put the weight into the heel. Oh, of course, don't let the weight go into the ball. No, see, it's not even bad to put the weight. Hang on, I'll come back to that. I'll come back to the ball of the foot thing. Stick on what I'm talking about. If you feel the weight go down, sinking, I can still feel like my ankle joint is mobile. It's got movement. It can go in all directions from this position, right? So if I'm up high, obviously the ankle can move. The ankle's got mobility to it. But if I go down to here, yeah, now the ankle it's still got movement. If I go down to here, yep, I can still feel my ankle can move. If I go down to here, now my ankle's maxed out. As soon as I feel my ankle completely locked out, I'm feeling then tension in the knee, because the tension that's running through here, through the ankle, is then pulling on the tendons in the knee, causing pressure, causing discomfort, and potentially damage to your knee. So that's what you've got to be thinking about, is especially when you're doing the one-legged, stepping actions and things like that, when we tell you to sink down. You must sink as low as you can, sink. Okay, yep, sink. But when you start to feel your ankle maxing out at that ankle joint, okay, that's my limit. That's how far I'm allowed to go down. Don't try to go past and press in to your ankle joint. If you have extremely limited mobility in your ankles, doing Taiji steps like this is not the way to get mobility in your ankle. It will not gain, I guess over time it might tiny bit, but you need to do specific ankle mobility exercises, okay? I'm not going to go into that now, but that's another story. So anytime you move forward into a front stance, you don't really have to worry about it too much in a bow stance because you haven't got all your weight over that leg. It really only happens when you put all the weight over it that there's the potential that you've put too much low pressure. See, going down lower, this is going down low with a straight spine. I'll just do it like this to the side. If I go down, keeping my spine upright, okay, oh, I forgot to put my screen back on big. Sorry guys. For those of you following afterwards, there you go. Now you can see me a bit bigger. Okay, so sinking down like so, I can feel my ankles bending up. The ankles are bending. I'm keeping my back vertical. Now I get to the point where about there, that's still comfortable because there's still a little bit of a buffer on the other side, you see. I'm not locked out yet. The ankle joint is not maxed out. If I go to there, now my ankle joint's maxed out. That's very uncomfortable. I do not want weight. As soon as I feel like if someone were to jump on my shoulders, my knees would pop out. I do not want any pressure on my body in that position. It just feels weak straight away. So I sink down, whereas now I feel strong. Now from that position, if I want to go lower, I have to, see, my ankle joints are not bending anymore when I go right down. So I can chuck a person on my shoulders and do a full squat with someone on my shoulders, no pressure on my knees. There is pressure on my knees, but good pressure on my knees. So that's what we want to be looking at. Really focus on that ankle as you sink down. And of course the Taiji form, most of it anyway, not all of it, there are certain postures where there is tilts and leans in the Taiji form, much more so in the Bagua form of course. If it is a vertical, if the posture states it should be vertical, so you're not allowed to lean down like this to take a longer step to get down low, if that's the rule of the posture, well then that means that posture is not supposed to be particularly large, just a normal bow stance, nothing like this. What else can I tell you about the knees? Glutes. Turn your glutes on. If your glutes are not switched on when you're in a bow stance, the pressure in your knee will be shooting forwards. Okay? So, again, here's another thing about the knee going over the toe. People say the knee over the toe is damaging to the knees. It's not, because everyone can do this. No one ever says this is bad, to stand on the balls of your feet. Your knee is freaking 30 centimeters past your toes. What's the difference? What's the only difference? Your ankles aren't maxed out.
your ankles. You've released the tension from your ankles, so there's nothing pulling onto your knees. Going here, there's the ankle tension, release the ankles. Now I can sink down. Now I can go down as far as I want without putting any pressure on my knees when I go down. So if you release the ankle tension, it doesn't matter how far you go down. Therefore, it doesn't actually matter where your weight is placed when you do a squat. I can squat with my weight in my heels all the way down, or I can squat with my weight in the toes all the way down. Okay? Both of those feel perfectly strong. I might not, just because I'm not used to it, I might not want to do a squat with 100 kilos on my back, because I don't know how stable I'd be on my toes. You know, it's a very difficult posture, but it is structurally sound to do this movement. It's not damaging to my knees. I don't feel any adverse pressure on my knees whatsoever when I'm in that stance. So what about a bow stance? Okay, so we're in a bow stance and I've got the weight on the ball of the foot. This doesn't feel good. Okay, now I'm in a bow stance and I've got the weight in the ball of the foot. This does feel good. So it's all about where you're directing the force. This is why for beginners, we always just say keep your weight in your heels. It's a good way of just creating structure, making sure nothing's going to go wrong. So what I don't want is, it's hard to explain, but it's like the power is lurching forward. My knee is kind of the intent of my knee. It's like the power is going this way through my knee. If I put my weight from this position through my toe, but I think downward thoughts, force the pressure down by engaging this glute, now I can have my foot right up in the air like this. Feels perfectly fine. Feels a bit odd, it's not how I do my form, but it feels perfectly fine for the knee. If I switch off my glute and do the same thing, I've softened my glute purposefully, now I'm feeling excessive pressure running through the front of my knee. It's like the pressure's coming down the thigh and shooting out at an angle here, instead of following the knee down to the ground point. To get the power to go down to the ground point, you need to switch on that glute. When the glute engages, it connects everything in. Now, it's strong because the glute's engaged. Sometimes we don't notice these things because there's not very much pressure on our body. You know, you're just sort of standing 70% weight, not a big deal. But if you pick up something heavy, grab yourself a weight of some kind, chuck that over your shoulders, and then stand there and say, okay, that feels fine. Now if I switch off my glute, oh no, I don't want to do that. Because there's that added weight on my shoulders, as soon as I switch off my glute, I notice it instantly. And I don't want to do it. It's like, it's really hard for me to switch off my glute because the glute's going, no, don't do it, don't do it. You'll screw your knee up. So now I can feel my glute really on. It's switched on. Just be careful, I don't hit the guitars here. Switch to the other side. Feel that glute switched on that front leg. No excessive pressure on my knee because the glute is switched on. Okay? So, keep your knees in alignment by keeping your feet gripped, planted on the floor in the correct balance. Keep your glutes engaged to keep the power going down through the knees. And if in doubt, keep the weight back on that sweet spot. There are movements where the weight does go forward, but the pressure goes down through the feet. It doesn't, it's like I'm moving forward and my foot's staying back there. I don't want to be doing that. I want to ground the pressure down through that knee. Yeah, that's about all I can think of. Just off the top of my head there, from a question point of view. That's me running dry as far as things I can talk about the knees. So the primary thing is they've got to feel strong. Put a heavy weight on your back. Do your knees still feel strong? That'll tell you. Holding heavy weight is one of the best things you can do to feel the correct structure in your Taiji form, your Bagua form, your Qigong. Pick up a heavy weight, not that heavy, just something like that. Just a lighter weight. And just hold it out there. Or you could even do it like this. What is it, 5'2"? Hold it like so. And you'll instantly feel all your back muscles, your shoulder muscles, your scapula, your lower back. You'll feel your glutes much more again in this position. You'll feel everything. You won't be able to stand here very long with a weight like that. I think this is about 7-8 kilos or something. But you'll really feel all the correct muscle structures firing. Then, preferably get someone to take it off your hand so you don't have to squat down. But then when you stand there without it, oh yeah, I can still feel all that strength running down my back from holding that weight. So it's highly advisable to test out, to train your movements, your postures in your Taiji form with weight on your body to learn the structure. Okay. Got just enough time to run through the form. It might go a little bit over in case anyone needs to leave right on 7 o'clock. Okay, so now I'm going to do the right side. Let's flow through. Let's think about our bum. Really focus on your bum being nice and strong throughout. Think about your ankles. Ankles, bum, and feet as we go through. Let's try it. Do it just a tad faster this time. Let's go. Breathing in. Breathing out. Flow the circle around. Glutes. Ankles. Feel that ankle. Stabilize that foot, that standing foot. Sink forward. Glute on the left side now. Engage that glute. Especially here as you're sinking down on it. Really feel your glute. You're losing the glute max, the glute mid, the glute minimum. All three of them are firing when you're in that open position. Coming forward. Front glute switched on. Rear glute switched on as well, but hasn't got as much weight on it. Continuing through. Think, visualize, feel your buttocks. Your ankles. Think about where your ankles are. Think about your feet planted on the ground. Squeeze the quad to keep your foot flat on the ground when you are going into a closing movement. Sink. Ankle. Think about that ankle. Think about that standing glute. Bum is flexed. You're feeling it tight on that right bum cheek. Ankle in the middle, mobile in that sweet spot. And forward. Open out. Big one-legged stance here. Really focus on that right leg. Engage the glutes. Keep it strong. Squeeze the quad when you're coming across, because otherwise your knee will buckle to the outside. Lift that up. Glutes, core, stabilize. Roll the foot. Again, glutes. Hold that glute strong. Press down as you breathe out. Catch that energy in your palms. Step out. Breathe. And let your hands come out to the sides. A little bit of a sink. And breathe out to close. Do you feel better now, Bettina?
I'm so tired. But yeah, that's cool.
Good. Good.
I have problems with my writing on the program.
What?
Still. I have a problem with my writing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But I wouldn't do it sometimes.
Did I by any chance answer your question, Maya? Or was that completely a different subject to what you wanted?
No, you did.
Yeah?
I did the ankle point was really good. I mean, I haven't heard it before, so
Yeah. Okay. Oh, good. Good. Oh, Maya's frozen. I'll have to talk to someone else.
It's a pretty important subject because 20 years ago, e-safety wasn't discussed near as much.
Yeah.
I did damage my knees in the early days of Tai Chi.
Yeah.
And a grad student I knew who did a thesis on Tai Chi and interviewed a lot of teachers, and they said it's inevitable that you would have bad knees if you practice Tai Chi for a long period. I think maybe they're thinking nowadays.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I think people are only concerned with making sure their students don't injure themselves in the class, which is very different to prolonged long term. Like, you have your knee a little bit buckled, you're not going to injure yourself in class. That's the type of thing that will gradually wear away at it, and then 10 years later, you've got knee problems. Now you can't really blame the teacher, you see? It's like, oh, well, you weren't in class anymore and blah, blah, blah. And, whereas if I tell you to do something really stupid in class and you injure yourself in class, I've got to be careful to not get in trouble for that. So yeah, no, that's why I place so much importance. And no matter how annoyed certain students might look when I keep coming around to them and saying, watch your knee, watch your knee, watch your knee, I refuse to stop saying it because it's too important. So I don't care if someone's, if their hand's in a funny position and they're just, sometimes you've got to just let people be sometimes. If you keep at them, they don't come back to class. In which case now they're not doing any training. Some training's better than no training. But yeah, if their hand's a bit of in a funny position, I'll give them a break about that because they're not injuring, they're not hurting their body. But if their knees are wobbly, or if they're standing like this, again, that's going to give them problems over time. So I'll keep coming around, slapping them in the face, get that neck straight, because you're going to get a hunchback. And once you get past a certain point, there's no recovery. You can't come back from that. Unless, of course, you've got another 100 years to live, maybe then you can come back from it. But basically the point where people get to there and they get that big hump on their back, they're already like 60. It's taken them 60 years to get to that point. There's no coming back. As far as Western medicine is concerned anyway, they just say like, nah, sorry, you just have to learn to live with it. That it would take too long to get anything, to get back with it. Oh, she's back.
What happened?
I don't know. We were talking about necks and knees and not injuring them. Yeah. Right. Well, I'm glad you all enjoyed class. I certainly did.
Maya, you froze with a very cute smile.
Yeah, I noticed that. I've got to get up at... I've got to leave at 5 o'clock in the morning to go pick my mum up from Heathrow. So I've got to leave at 5, 2.5 hour drive, get mum, and then 2.5 hour drive home. And then we'll have her here for a few days before she goes down to her place. So, because she hasn't seen our new house yet, so that'll be nice to have her over. She's been away in Australia for... When did she leave? I don't know. It feels like, I think it's been about 3 months or something she went. Yeah. Hmm? What? Have you come to say hello? And good night.
I was drawing two
Hey!
things.
Why aren't you in bed?
Mama let me draw two things.
Mama let you draw 2 things, and now you're going to go to bed, are you? Are you going to go to bed while I have a shower? Yeah? Oh, good. Okay.
No.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining me this evening and throughout the rest of the day, for those of you who joined then. And I shall see you tomorrow night for Yang Lu Chan instructional class at 8 p.m. See you then. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.